separate issues. And on the suppressor front, I think there's a strong case to be made that suppressors are in fact arms and therefore covered by the Second Amendment as articulated by the court in Bruen v. U.S. In some of our other cases, so I'll note that, in the Fifth Circuit, there's no state that bans suppressors. So, we haven't seen an opportunity to challenge, to make this case in front of the Fifth Circuit. But to my mind, it's a three-part argument for the legality, for the constitutionality of covering suppressors. And essentially, the first and most important point there is that when a state is banning the possession of a suppressor, what they're banning is not necessarily the suppressor itself, because as I said, a suppressor is just a muffler that's applied to a firearm. They're banning the use of a suppressor on a firearm. So they're banning the entire item itself, such that the conduct of possessing a firearm equipped with a suppressor is what's protected by the Second Amendment.
So let me break that down if I could. So are you arguing that when a firearm has a suppressor on it, the entire firearm plus suppressor is an arms, a firearm under the Second Amendment?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so just like, the slippery slope that you end up going down here is if the suppressor is not an arm, and the court, I guess we'll get to it here in a second, so I don't want to jump ahead. But if the suppressor's not a firearm or not an arm here, as covered by the Second Amendment, as articulated by Bruen, is a sight also not a firearm? Is a barrel also not a firearm? There's a ton of components, pieces of firearm that aren't strictly speaking necessary to the functioning of that firearm. You boil down what's necessary to create an arm. Really, it's an explosive and a projectile. You don't even necessarily need a barrel. So could the state ban the possession and owning of a barrel or sights or a scope? We think not. We think and there's case law on some of those points, though not all, because in many instances, no government has thought to ban them. But you're exactly right. It's the idea that the whole a suppressor is a component of an arm, therefore it is an arm.